this is gold. I've got Robyn Reynolds here. Type that into Google and you're going to get a fair bit about Robyn and then a lot about Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, that's so true. Also, I think there's a Robyn Reynolds who is a marriage celebrant.
She does good work if she's a female.
No, fuck her. She's taking all my Google hits.
My brother's name is Robyn, and I don't think he has much of an internet presence. Probably a
Let's
LinkedIn.
get on there.
But anyway, Robyn Reynolds is here. She is a comedian, very, very funny. Came over from the UK. How many years ago, Robyn?
That's a good question. I think it'll be 5 at Christmas. But it might be 6 at Christmas. Sorry, I'm actually really bad with remembering when I came over.
You gave yourself a Christmas present, one trip to Australia.
Oh, yeah, one trip. Yeah. I suppose that was the Christmas present that year.
Why did you flee?
Oh, well, I came over here because my dad's over here.
Good.
Yeah, he seems nice.
He seems nice, and so far it's working out very, very well. And I got to ask you just the ubiquitous question: how did you get started in comedy? It's always somewhat interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh, I talked about this on another podcast recently, so I'm gonna plagiarize myself. But it was a little bit of an accident, really. Because I used to watch comedy. I mean, I think a lot of people will tell you if they're from the UK, you're like raised on comedy, especially sort of like storytelling comedy. And when I came out here, I was I was like on my Larry and I really didn't have any mates. So I just sort of used to round up my weird collection of international friends and we would go and watch this open mic in Redfern. And we went so often that I became friends with the organizer, who was a really nice lady. And then, say lady, we were the same age. And yeah, nice lady my own age. And one time I was really drunk at the bar and I was in the middle of telling a story about a guy who had taken me on a date to Bondi because he was like, that's where your people are. And I was like, oh, little did he know, Jews as well. He's nailed it. And she was just like, do you want to be on? I haven't got any women on tonight. And I just went up and talked for I did like a tight 2 minutes. But from what I can remember, the crowd liked it. I can imagine I was just like drunk and just chatting. And somebody came up to me afterwards and was like, I loved your drunk girl act. And I was like, thank you. Because I was absolutely twatted. And yeah, that's how I got into it by accident. And then ages after that, I went to go and watch What She Said comedy, which used to be on at Chippendale Hotel. And now there's Yeah the Girls on at Chippendale Hotel as well. So there's still an all-female comedy night on Sundays. And that's where I started. And I stayed in that room, literally just doing comedy in there for 3 or 4 months.
Great.
And then I ventured out into the world, which was a great way to start, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good story. And you'll hear a lot of stories about that. You know, people saying you're really funny, you should do comedy. And a lot of comedians are discovered by their friends and relatives, aren't they? And
do you know, it's funny. I don't ever think my relatives or maybe my friends back home would have ever thought that I would go on stage. I certainly never thought I would go on stage.
No.
It wasn't until I came out here and I saw some really, really bad comedy. No offense to the Sydney open mics, but I was like, yeah, I could do that. I probably wouldn't even bring up abortion. I probably wouldn't even mention it, to be honest.
I think most open mics and it's a pretty low bar at the open mics, but you got to cut your teeth somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, you kind of trip over the bar as you walk up onto the stage.
That's funny. Robyn's got us laughing all the time. Tell us about Robs and Mads, or is it Robyn Mads, or is it Robs and Mads?
Robyn Mads. Yeah, so that was. Not sure whether we need to register like an ABN or something on that. But that was me and Maddie. We were like, oh shit, we really quickly need a like production company because we made these sketches for Sydney Fringe. And we have got an hour show that It's got a lot of material in it that we can't really use anywhere else because it's a lot of us doing sort of like a double act on stage. So we did our hour show at Two Queers Festival, and we filmed 3 sketches at Sydney Fringe. They've got like a hub. It used to be called the Old 505 Theatre. I think now it's called Eliza Street Fringe Hub. And we really quickly like banged out those sketches in our artist in isolation residency last November. And yeah, Robyn Mads was our little, we were like, what would be cute? Robyn Mads.
That was lots of fun. They're over on YouTube and you can watch them any old time.
Yeah, I've got to edit them and put subtitles on them because I know I never watch videos unless they have subtitles because I never have the sound on my phone.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard, isn't it? There's apps that can do that for you.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I used Capwing online, but it is a bit of an arse ache.
Yes. Send us some money, that company. We are plugging you. What do you think is the most hilarious thing about the recent lockdown?
Hilarious. Oh, God.
I mean, obviously, it's fun.
I don't know whether hilarious, but I don't know. Something did make me cackle the other day in like a very sort of cynical woe is the world when I was reading. Someone pointed out that Australia actually could have been COVID free if we'd have just got everyone vaccinated and kept the borders closed.
That's crazy, wasn't it? You know,
I was like, oh yeah, that's how funny.
They seem to land pretty quickly, not quick enough. The vaccines, and then we're going to get vaccinated. Look around, and my day job is an area where you need to be vaccinated, and they said, "Look out, you're going to get vaccinated." And I was on the balls.
Are you vaccinated?
I am. I'm double vaccinated with the AstraZeneca. Almost killed me the first time.
Oh yeah, did you have a weird side effect?
Oh, it was bad, not very good. But the second one, I was totally prepared. Got extra Panadol and everything in, and then nothing. Actually, later that evening, I thought, oh, am I getting a bit hot? But no, I just had one jacket too many on. I was just wearing. Am I getting too hot? Yes, you've got warm clothes on. So, but the first time it really knocked the crap out of me. If you don't mind.
Well, I would love to get vaccinated. Up until really recently, I was working in aged care. And I'm also, I guess I'm immunocompromised, though I hate to say that word because it sort of springs up images of people with cancer and very, very serious illnesses. But I've got Crohn's. So I've got an immune system that starts attacking itself. Yeah. Which is great.
Sure.
So I would have loved to get the vaccine, but I haven't been able to. So I'm scheduled in now for the end of July, but that was the absolute earliest I could get in, and I'm immunocompromised, and I just finished up a job in aged care and I couldn't get it the whole time.
And you're young also.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Look, we could have done a bit better. Hopefully we'll do a bit of next pandemic.
Yeah.
I wonder what sort of bug it'll be. Might be a wild flesh-eating one. That would be different.
That would be pretty sexy. Yeah. On the topic of just sexy illnesses, I am young. Thank you so much for saying. I also have the immune system of an 80-year-old woman because I recently got shingles.
Oh gosh, I've had that. It sucks. So yeah. So you must be. Were you stressed out? Are you stressed out?
Yeah, Neil? I was really, really anxious, and I got shingles. And what was really funny is, I'm not even sure if it's okay to do this accent, but I'm going to do it. It was a really old Russian doctor, and she was called Dr. Natalia. I won't say her surname, and she was amazing. I got in to see her literally the morning of, and the night before. I just don't know why, but I woke up and I was like, I bet I've got shingles, which is just such a crazy thought. And I went in the morning, like first thing in the morning, had an emergency appointment, and I was sitting there and I went, I think I've got shingles. And she went, without sort of looking at me, and she was like, you don't have shingles, too young. And then she was like, well, let's see. And I lifted up my top and she went, you have shingles. So that was great. That was a great bait and switch. And I was like, I wish I was wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I've got shingles.
So back in my day, it was the one big dose of antibiotics. Is that what you got or different?
I had antivirals.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
I
like,
was a bit far gone, but the doctor said, I'm going to give you the antibiotics anyway, just in case it helps. I said, love the way you think, doc.
yeah, because
And
that's the thing. Don't cure.
it
You
didn't
just have to
really
ride it out.
it didn't really help. I was pretty sick for a few days. And I was also really stressed out at the time and the least surprised person in the doctor's surgery that I had shingles. Except that I hadn't really, hadn't really been thinking about shingles. And I was only a lad too. What was I? I guess I was 28, 30. Yeah, something in
Yep,
that range.
it's crazy.
Anyway, look, stress will kill you, amongst other things.
It's so funny. And they're like, you have to calm down, otherwise the shingles gets worse. And you're
Mm.
like, but I can't do that
Yes. My
because
stomach's
I
on
have
fire, a massive
shingles.
headache, fever.
The chills. I was gigging. Thank God I wasn't contagious because I didn't have the rash yet. So I got this big rash all over
Mm.
my side. And I'd been gigging. I had 4 gigs in 3 days, and I was like running around like a mad woman. I've been to the gym like every day, and I felt awful, but I just kept going
Mm.
because you just keep doing things. And I felt like hot and cold chills all over my body. And I just thought, wow, I must be really nervous about these gigs because I don't
That's
normally get
that's
chills.
that's the courage of the British Tommy, that you know, and
Yeah.
your ancestors won those two world wars single-handedly,
Sure.
and very well done. Let's talk about talk about the UK and comedy in the UK, because it's bigger than Ben Hur, isn't it? Americans don't understand it. Australians have got some sort of feel for it because we get a lot of the sitcoms, obviously. Um,
Well, I never did comedy in the UK.
I
So
know, but you must have some favourite British comedians.
comedians, oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well,
start the
although
list,
I
list,
suppose,
list.
oh, well, I love Joe Lycett.
Yes, he's the
I love his
best.
storytelling stuff. I think that's really funny. No, he's doing a lot of like internet scam sort of stuff. Like he'll message back scammers or he'll talk about scammers online, which a lot of people like because they're sort of bite-sized internet clips. But I love his stand-up. And I used to adore John Richardson when I was younger, but I haven't seen much of his stuff recently. I suppose everyone I used to love when I was growing up might not be so common on TV anymore because I'm probably remembering like 2008, 2009 when I was watching comedy a lot and they were always on like
Yeah,
Evan Bridges and Jimmy Carr and everyone on telly I used to just absolutely love and idolize. And I look back and I'm like, there weren't many women. Like there
no,
really
not so
was
many.
like
But
on the panel show, I absolutely used to inhale them, like QI, Mock the Week, 8 out of 10 cats. I used to go and sit in on the recordings because it's free. You just have to queue for a long
yeah,
time. But there were like very few women on there. Sarah Millican made it pretty big whilst I was a teenager.
she's a favourite. Josie Long, I like a lot. Do you know Josie?
Yeah,
I mean, not personally, but
yeah, but it's a real shame when I look back and I'm like, huh, those were my formative years. And maybe if I had seen more representation, maybe I would have started comedy in the UK.
maybe it would have. But it's a beef, in the UK still. It comes up a lot on podcasts I listen to about the lack of women. But they've been complaining a long time about it. I still think, well, maybe women don't really want to do it. I'm
Yeah, I don't
joking.
think
I'm joking.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Women
just
like
I'm
sitting
just
in the
joshing.
kitchen where it's warm.
Yes, well, not our kitchen. Um, so what are we going to do for shows when this lockdown finishes shortly? Have you got much on?
If everything goes okay, I will have an absolutely packed August and September if we get out of this
Mm.
lockdown and it doesn't get extended and extended and extended. And I would say probably knowing where I am now, I might, even if things are sort of online in September, I would probably try to put on some kind of online show, maybe with Maddie, but fingers crossed we'll be in person. If we are in person, I will be doing my first solo show ever at Sydney Fringe. It's called Mermaid.
Oh, mermaid. What's that about? Is it about a
That would be very
mermaid?
cool. Well, it is sort of related to The Little Mermaid, which was
Oh,
a favorite film of mine growing up. And I've always loved this idea that as you revisit Disney films as a young woman, you're sort of like, hang about. I don't know, because when you're younger and you watch The Little Mermaid, are you familiar with The Little Mermaid? You watched it recently?
I've only got a feel of it. I couldn't say that I knew it. Hmm.
Let me tell you. Okay. Ariel, the titular character in The Little Mermaid, she is 16 and she sees a man on a ship and she falls in love with him. And she's already obsessed with the land. And she's got this like whole cave full of trinkets and she like finds a fork and stuff. And she thinks it's called a dingle hopper and she thinks that it's a comb. So she's like obsessed with the land. She's absolutely obsessed. And she sees this dude, she falls in love with him, and she goes to a sea witch and she's like, I gotta get on land, you gotta help me out. And the sea witch is like, cool, sure thing. I'll take your voice and I'll give you legs. And then you've got 3 days to make him fall in love with you. And she's like, this is a sick deal. I absolutely love it. And her dad is always like, Ariel, you've got to like stay here and not go on land, etc. And when you're younger, you're like, wow, he is so unreasonable. She is in love. When you're a little bit older, I don't know, I rewatched it recently in preparation for this show and I was like, he's very reasonable.
Mm.
Like he's got a bit of a short temper, but he's making some solid points. Like I know
A,
it's supposed to be in the 1400s, but I'm like, she's 16, she should go to uni.
a lot of Disney characters make good points.
Yeah.
You know, Huey, Dewey, and Louie were really annoying. And, even though Donald Duck took it a bit far with his anger,
Oh, right, yeah. Looney Tunes, yeah.
well, it's Disney. And what do you think Pluto is? I know this is going back a lot of years for a young person.
She said
Pluto's
a
a
dog.
dog. I mean,
It's a dog.
Goofy. What do you think Goofy is? Because I've got the answer.
It is not a dog. He's a dog.
It's a
He's not a
cow.
dog. He's a
Goofy's a
cow.
Goofy is a cow.
I'm gonna look up what this
I don't
Goofy
know. I
says.
heard that. I heard that somewhere.
That's crazy. But yeah, so
Please let me be right.
I think the Little Mermaid is a pretty good analogy or allegory for sort of growing up and the loss of innocence.
And also, you both got red hair, which
We've
is
both got
great.
red hair,
Which
which
is
is
another.
Goofy is not a cow. The publication debunked an article that claimed that Goofy is a cow.
Been debunked. I've been debunked on my own show.
He is an anthropomorphic dog from the Goof family.
Okay. Well, when Walt Disney comes back to life, gets unfrozen
I
or
can't believe
thawed.
that on your podcast.
Mm.
Wow.
Look, that's okay. I'm just glad we got to the truth.
Yeah. That's noble of you in a way. I just want the truth, to be honest. I just want the truth out.
Look, as long as it's stupid, I'm up for it. I just love just hearing things once from a not credible source and then starting to spread it around. I really like to do that. So I heard this
biology at 14 and claimed that sperm was from the kidneys.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it's from the balls.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Which is a weird place to store it.
But it's a very popular thing that I should have known as a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all right. You're learning now. Well, I mean, what else should we cover? Where are we going to find you if we want to follow stuff? I know you're on Instagram because that's where we're chatting.
Yeah, I would say probably Instagram. Facebook, I've never really gotten the hang of Facebook. And I do have a comedian page on there, but then Facebook made me update it to be like a profile. So now I have to switch profiles to go on my comedian page, and I never post anything on there anyway. Instagram, I make little stories about what I'm baking. And I do have a website. It's just robynreynoldscomedy.com. So if people are really desperate to see videos of me doing comedy, which I must update, then they can go on robynreynoldscomedy.com. And if anyone wants to do comedy and they are not sure how to start, they can message me on Instagram.
Fantastic. That's good. This is all good
I'll give
stuff.
what little knowledge I have. Make it
Yes, well,
happen.
it cannot be easy in Australia with our small population. But I mean, you got the few big cities, haven't you? So,
Well, I would say there's pros and cons because
hmm.
I never, like I said, I never found comedy accessible in a way in the UK. Like I never would have seen myself on stage or even seen a way to get there. And I'm from a small town in Gloucestershire, so maybe that's why. Maybe there are no open mics. But when I moved to uni in London, I went to go and watch so many what I thought were open mics, but now I know that you even have to get referred on to get on those, and they are unpaid spots. Whereas in Australia, I stumbled drunkenly onto stage.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I feel
Pros
like if
and
you
yeah.
want to get into comedy, if you want to get really big in comedy, which is a little dream of mine, obviously. I mean, end goals. I would love to just write for a TV show or be in a TV show. If someone thinks I'm fuckable enough, that would be the dream. But I would say you have to go somewhere else and then come back to Sydney and be like, look what I did.
Look what I did. Yes,
Yeah.
and they fill big arenas in the UK, don't they?
Oof,
And
crazy.
there would
Nice to know
be
that I could always go back to the UK and then
there's
come back here.
probably would there be triple figures of comedians that can fill arenas in the UK, or would there be
I
less
don't know
than
whether
more like
I'd say
50ish?
I would say probably 50 top.
It's
And
amazing,
I'd
isn't it?
trouble naming 50 top Australian comedians. So that's a pro because I feel like it's more accessible to start here. It's just that there's probably a limit on opportunities and how far up you can rise.
Yeah, and it's not our fault. Um, people are people are trying really hard to make good quality TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think, but by the time it gets to the suits, though, I feel if things get a little bit watered down, it starts to get a little bit broad. I think great comedians come in with a very set idea, like I want it to be a cross between X and Y, but I'm laser focused that it's going to be funny in this, and this way. And then they think, particularly if it goes anywhere near the ABC, which I love. ABC, please employ me for anything. But
I know,
um,
right?
but it goes near the AC, it just starts to spread out when it starts to get filmed and starts to get a bit family friendly. To be real comedy, I think.
Yeah, I think probably the best thing I've seen in recent years that really struck me is like, oh, cool, this is very Australian with Please Like Me, which I
Yes.
think most young comedians right now are like, wow, can I write or can I be in the next Please Like Me? So obviously that's a dream. But then
That one.
I know I feel like maybe Australia commercially, I can't see myself making it big on TV yet. So maybe not that I'm like massively ready, but I don't know. I do kind of feel like maybe I'd have to go to another country, sort of circumvent it in that way and like get more experience and do more international festivals and then come back. And that's kind of I can't see another way for me. And I'd love to write, I'll try and write a screenplay and, have something, hopefully with Maddie, and then we'll have something ready made to take to someone. But I just don't know whether Australia is that ready to invest in what I would love to see on TV.
Yes, it's a lot of money. Even with a small crew, it still starts to run into tens of thousands and
Oh, yeah.
heads towards six figures pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you got to think about, well, I'm paying out my money here, and it wasn't too long ago that people used to pay for this sort of stuff. But
Oh, even the sketches that Maddie and I managed to write and film during our week,
hmm.
we barely broke even. And a lot of it was out of our own pocket at the end of the day. And that was us just trying to make sure we paid all our artists.
Have you
And the
thought
video.
about just going on TikTok and just chatting to people? Just
Yeah, but
chatting.
then I felt like everything's oversaturated. I'm coming to everything too late. By the time I'd heard about TikTok and was like, Oh, that looks like it's pretty good for editing videos. I was like, I don't know, I'm tired. I feel like I just leave it for the 17-year-olds. I'm like,
You
you have
should
TikTok. We'll talk later.
you should try it. There's all ages and all types of people over there. Like I don't. Like I've got an account and I release the occasional pre-prepared video, but I don't just sit on there and chat. I'm not one of the chatters and stuff like that. And I don't know. A lot of money to be had over there. You just get tips, and like it doesn't
Yeah.
get sexy or anything. Well, I've never seen that happening. It's outside the terms of service, apparently. Anyway,
Mm.
this interview is ending on a weird note. Robyn
Not
Reynolds, Robyn Reynolds is funny. Check her out. Check her out now. Check her out when she comes back to Australia triumphantly after her first US hit.
here right now. Yeah, I'm here. I'll be here for the next couple of years by the looks of it. Come see Mermaid. Add me on Instagram. We can be best friends.
Fantastic. Thanks, Robyn.
Thanks for having me. Bye, Dan.